Oh, okay. Hi. This is the video that I said I was gonna make like a week ago, and I got kind of sidetracked because where I am right now, there's not a whole lot of privacy and alone time, so I kind of wanted that when I was gonna make this, so I could actually do it. Um, Also, before I start, I want to say how much I hate my voice on video. I think it sounds nothing like me. I think it sounds really weird. And because I think that, it's probably going to sound even stranger. And kind of like a mess today. So please be kind. The three of you that are probably going to watch this, and maybe the one that'll make it all the way through. When I said I was going to do this, I got actually a really good amount of good ideas and questions. So that's really awesome. And I thought about them before I made this because I didn't want there to be a ton of pauses in between each one, trying to think of a half decent answer. So when doing that, I kind of realized that this is going to be a little longer, probably, than what I expected it was going to be. So bear with me. The probably, like I said, one of you that might make it all the way through the whole thing. Thank you for thinking I'm interesting enough to watch this, I guess. Um, okay, so I'll start. Okay. What do I like to see in movies and television? That's an interesting question. I'm not entirely sure the context of what it's asking, so I'm gonna kind of run with it in a direction I've been thinking about lately. Because I started to think about what are similar themes and elements that I always seem to like in television and movies, like recurring themes that I know I'm gonna like a movie because it has this. And a lot of the times it's stuff as simple as I love a good summer camp movie. I am a big fan of movies that take place in amusement parks. And it's one of those things where I don't entirely know if it's because I really love movies that take place in amusement parks and summer camps that make me interested in amusement parks and summer camps, or, it was the other way around, that my interest in those things made me love movies that contain them. And so, I don't know, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and I was just trying to think of what are really strong recurring themes in movies that I love. And I mean, I love those settings. I love a good rock movie about a band. It could be The Commitments, it could be That Thing You Do, it could be Starstruck from the 80s. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of different good band movies out there, which I love that they exist. And I don't know, that also probably stems because I've always wanted to be in a band, and so I love watching really good bands in a really fun and interesting movie. Um, so I don't know, those are some of the things. I kind of wish I should really start writing them down because I was thinking about them a couple weeks back, and I don't know, I started to develop an interesting list, and just in my head, and now it's gone. I can't really remember most of it. And I mean, that might honestly not be what you're asking, so if I answer any of these not exactly the way that you guys wanted, or you had a different question in mind than what I ended up answering, feel free to send me an ask after this about anything. If you have an inquiry about a movie, if you want to say, hey, I thought you knew about movies and I was mistaken, whatever, go ahead. My message box is open. Talking about movies I've seen recently. That's a weird, tricky question because most of the movies that I've watched in the last 3 or so days, I've seen before. I mean, I've probably watched I don't know, 6 movies, 7 in the last 3 days, but I've seen all of them before because I've been catching up on Breaking Bad and Weeds and a couple other things, so I've been focusing on new movies. But new movies I've seen recently. Oh, I watched Teen Witch because it was on YouTube. It was really bad. But I mean, I kind of knew what to expect because I'd seen images from it that made it look really, really cheesy. And I don't know, I was just kind of in a mood for that kind of movie that night. And I mean, it was interesting. There was a rap battle, and I mean, a white rap battle from the 90s. And I mean, cause, like, Vanilla Ice and Snow were better than these guys. Like, they were nowhere near ever as embarrassing as this was. But I mean, if it's your kind of thing, I mean, there's merit to the movie. It's kind of campy and fun. I saw My Idiot Brother, which is kind of exactly what you would end up thinking that it is. It's fun, it's cute, it's worth a watch. I mean, most people like the Judd Apatow-esque movies, Paul Rudd movies, even though in the 90s he made a lot of different kinds of movies, but not so much now. But, yeah, it was cute, and the cast was great. I mean, there really should be more movies that have Paul Rudd and Adam Scott in them at the same time. Like, that was enjoyable. I was very excited to see that. What else have I seen? I watched Cocoon, which might not be for everyone. I mean, Steve Guttenberg, Brian Dennehy, aliens, old people. It's good. It was cute. I like stories like that. I'm not really that big on most sci-fi, that there's a lot of sci-fi movies that I do end up enjoying, but I like me a good story about old people. I like old people, so it was very cute. It's worth a watch if it sounds like it's your kind of thing, if you look it up. And I mean, keep that in mind. I'm probably going to end up mentioning a ton of movies throughout this, so if I'm saying good things about them, or even if I'm saying bad things and it sparks your interest, go and check out all these movies, like, now. Well, not exactly now, like, right when this is over. You should probably watch this first, because hopefully it gets good soon. I think right now I'm kind of rambling. Movies I've seen recently. I feel like I saw something really new, but I was in a movie theater yesterday, but I didn't see any movies. I don't know. Oh, that's so bad. I can't think of anything that was really that new that I'd seen, because I'd rewatched a bunch of movies beginning of this week. I was just starting Hamlet today. The 2000 Hamlet. It's kind of a Gen X version. Ethan Hawke, Kyle MacLachlan, Bill Murray, Julia Stiles. You know, a good cast. I'm not all the way through yet, so I can't give it, a definite yes or no. But so far, it's interesting. It's very comparable to the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, where the writing is the same. They're the same words as Shakespeare wrote, but it's in modern times, and it's a little less extravagant, I would say, dramatic as that one is. But it seems good so far, and like I said, really good cast. So I'm excited to finish that probably later tonight, or I don't know, tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm sorry. My answer was kind of lame for that question. I'll see more movies soon. I can talk about them another time, I guess. Something I'm looking forward to in my town, future in theaters. Well, thank you for, wondering what's up in my future, in my town. My town. I don't know, there's generally a lot going on in my town. I hail from Pittsburgh, Steel City, which is wonderful if you've never been here. It's a good place. There's lots to do. Nothing like distinctly like time related, like things that are coming up. There's usually always movies and concerts and what have you always going on here. But I'm very excited this fall, another zombie walk, and I know they've actually picked up all across the world now, which is really awesome, because I mean, there's gonna be one thing that everybody loves now, and it's zombies. That's cool. So so I like that it has picked up, but we were one of the first to do it, as far as I know. I would call us the Zombie City. And I mean, that's probably just because I'm partially gloating, but also, I mean, we're the city of Romero. They filmed Night of the Living Dead here. I've been to that cemetery a couple times. They filmed Dawn of the Dead here, and that was my first zombie walk. We did it in the mall where they filmed Dawn of the Dead, which, if you're a horror fan, you should know that's the best zombie movie. I mean, it's older, but as you know, a lot of older movies are fantastic. I don't know why people judge movies that are older than the 90s, even. I have friends that, oh, is it an old movie? Is it from the 80s? That just sounds crazy to me. But no, I think it's definitive. zombie movie, and I walked around that mall dressed as a zombie with good friends of mine, with teams of other zombies, and it's run by this really awesome local public access show in my city. It's called the It's Alive show, and they play generally really bad horror movies. Sometimes they'll play classics, sometimes they'll play Dawn of the Dead or Psycho, but stuff like that. But they'll usually play really bad horror movies, and then their death metal band plays. I think they're called Deathmobile. Yeah, and or they'll have other metal bands and punk bands play, and it's a fun show. They'll do like little skits and stuff, and then they're there, which is kind of awesome. I'll freak out over partially seeing them out of the corner of my eye while I'm walking around as a zombie. So I'm excited about that coming up. And if you live in Pittsburgh, or I don't know if they put any of them online. I don't know, I don't think they do. But check them out. It's Alive is very, very cool. I've been watching it for, wow, a number of years now. God, time flies. Yeah, as for, that's my town. For me, my future, I'm taking a short break from school and sort of, going stir crazy, not being where pretty much all my other friends are, and people don't really like when you're in your early 20s and you're not in school. So that's not the funnest time for me right now, but I'm taking some time off so then I can transfer later. And I'm looking for employment, and I actually just had an interview at, a movie theater, of course. Where else would I want to apply? And, I'm feeling good about it, so hopefully that works out. I mean, really, free movies. What more do I want? I mean, I would actually finally get to see movies in theater regularly, which is something I've never had, because I never get good rides to the theaters, so I end up missing a lot of things when they're brand new, and then I catch them when they finally make it to TV or the internet or whatever. That's kind of it for my future. I'm kind of boring right now. I need to find some more interesting future plans. Maybe I'll take a trip or something. In theaters. Good question. Okay. In theaters, of course, I'm excited about the new Tarantino movie, which I still have some waiting to do for that. But, I mean, I'm sure anybody who's, aware of what a decent movie is excited about that movie. And I'll see that in theaters. And I've never seen a Tarantino movie in theaters, which is pretty much almost blasphemy, because he's wonderful, and I imagine seeing any of his films at all in the theaters would be awesome. So I would see that. The Master, of course, because that looks fantastic. Really does. Let's see. The to-do list, which I think still has some time on it, but I really like the cast, and it seems like a fun premise, so I'm excited about that. I don't know, there's not a whole lot coming out that I can think of off the top of my head, that I'm really, really excited about. There's a lot of things in the distant future that I'd really want to see in theaters. There's a lot of things that are, like, kind of on their way out of the theaters. Like, I still cannot believe I haven't seen Moonrise Kingdom. I watched the trailer the day it came out online, and I flipped it, and I was excited, and I really wanted to see it since then. Been waiting, and I don't know, I was supposed to see a friend, and our plans kept getting screwed up, and hence, I don't drive, so I have difficulties getting places when I want to. I mean, I've got no problem going alone, so if I find a theater that still has it, which I don't know if I can, then I'm going by myself, because, I mean, I don't really care, I just want to see it. I don't know, I'm sure that there's a few others out there, but, like, those are really kind of, like, the master shortlist of things in theaters I'm really excited about. And, let's see. What's next? I should talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay. My interpretation of it. Okay, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I assume you mean the original, the one that came out in 1974, I believe, and not the remake. Though the remake is really pretty good, especially, in terms of remakes, though I'm sure those, hold the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre in, like, their favorite movies, and it's one of their favorite things, gonna hate me for saying that. I kind of hold it separate from the original because even though they're similar storylines, similar, things happening, I don't see it really as a true remake because the original is very much a different type of movie. Though, still Chainsaw Massacre and, teens in skimpy clothes dying. But, I like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a really good movie. And it's gritty and it's scary. I mean, I've never really been scared by an actual horror movie. Only once ever, and I don't know, I'm not going to discuss that right now because it's sort of embarrassing, especially because I was raised on horror and kind of a lame movie scared me. But, I like it. It's a good movie, and I also particularly like it because it's very much a 70s movie, and if you know anything about a lot of the movies that came out in the 70s, which there were tons of great movies that came out in the 70s, a lot of people would even call it our, golden era of really good movies, but it was kind of the first time that we had movies that were really pushing the envelope, movies that were really gritty and real, and I don't know, would criticize things that were going on in the world, and just, I don't know, they were probably the most comparable movies that we came out with on a regular basis that could be compared to foreign films, probably. Because, I mean, before that, you had, the 50s and 60s, which generally a lot of those movies were really cute and charming, and there were some that were a little, push the envelope, kind of. But not that much. Not that much. That would be maybe the late 60s, if anything. But 70s is when you started seeing movies that were really artistic and really gritty and gory and would go places that, movies hadn't before. And I mean, even if you look at the horror movies from the 60s, they were far less graphic and far less campy and far less just gory, I guess, than a lot of what you would see in the 70s, particularly Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, I think it even for a while, and I hope it still holds, whatever the actual title is, but it has some sort of record for, like, best scream, loudest decimal scream recorded on audio and video or whatever, and it's the scream when she's at the table with the family, and I think that kind of sums up what Texas Chainsaw Massacre is about, the fact that it has a scream, like, honor, it has a record, just loudest decimal scream. I mean, I'm not doing really good justice in interpreting the film. And like I said, if you want to message me about it, well, we can discuss it much further and much better. Because, I don't know, I'm trying to not have a bunch of gaps in this where I'm thinking about things, which means probably a lot of my answers are going to be a little lackluster. But, I'm trying, and hopefully this is moderately interesting and, informative. But I think it's good. I really do like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, though I've only seen it, like, 2 times, which is really quite sad. It's been a while since I've watched it, but it's just not readily available for me. I should try and find it somewhere online or something, because I had to wait years and years until they put it on a cable channel that I had, and it was, the full thing, and I was just so excited to finally see it, and it's just, yeah, it's very much a campy movie, but it's artistic in its own way. Like, when you see the camera angles and, like, the sunspot when he's, like, I think it's the end when he just has the chainsaw and he's, like, running around through the area with the sheets. That's not really articulately said, but if you know what I mean, it's a really iconic moment in the movie, and it's just, that's a pretty shot for a horror movie. So, I mean, I really do enjoy it. I think it's definitely a worthy horror movie. We can discuss it further. Actually, I think we should, especially because it sounds like you have some thoughts about it. So message me, please. Okay. A list of 3 obscure movies that I like that we should see. You asked me the best questions, and I don't know, a lot of my questions are about movies, which, I mean, I really like that. Thank you, that's nice. But I try to get back kind of quickly, so people aren't waiting forever and ever. And so I end up like giving an answer that I don't love, but I just kind of like. And that happens sometimes. Like recently somebody asked me like what my favorite love stories or romantic stories, I can't remember how it was worded, which is a great question. I love that question, and I was pretty happy with my list. And then a couple hours later or the next day, I'm just like, how did I forget broadcast news? And I don't know, I think I added a note later, and it was just like, how did I forget broadcast news? Add that. But it's not the same as when you give the answer. And I'm sure after I make this and I post it a couple hours later, I will think of better answers for all of these and look at all the mistakes that I had made in the video. I mean, I keep touching my face a lot and moving my hands a lot, and I don't know. I just do that, so I'm sorry if it's distracting and annoying. But I digress. 3 obscure movies. Well, I really do like this question, and I'm going to cheat and list more than 3, probably, especially because when I started to think about this, I kept thinking about more and more movies that I wanted to talk about. And I also started thinking about, when's a movie obscure? Like, for sure. I really feel like I might end up listing 1 or more movies that seem obscure to me. I feel like a lot of people might not know them, and they end up being moderately popular. Or you say, oh, that's not obscure at all. What a bust. So I'm probably going to list maybe 4 or 5. But, alright, I'll go quick because this is already getting really long, and I will be shocked if anybody makes it all the way through. So probably feel free to skip around and look for your question and whatever if you asked for one. Okay, so first one is probably going to be Totolero, which I'm sure I'm butchering pronunciation, but it's Belgian, and it's a few years old. I'm sure you can, if you need to know the titles of any things, if you can't hear me, I'm sure I'm not being incredibly clear and loud. Like I said, go ahead and ask me. But Totolero is, I think, it's a really charming movie, and a lot of people have seen it, and I'm not going to give too much of the storyline away, just because I feel like that's just a huge portion of the movie. Is just, I don't know, just watch it kind of situation. But it's something happens to the lead when he's a child, and it just kind of stays with him throughout the rest of his life. It's just, something he's constantly thinking about, something it's just kind of obsessive for him. And I really love the main character. And you follow him throughout his whole life, from childhood, adulthood, I think later adulthood, and as an old man. And I like the actors that do all of them, particularly the one that is the adult him, for kind of vapid reasons, just because that is like one of the favorite looks I have for a guy, which is so, cheesy. But, you like what you like, so whatever. But, I really love the movie, and it's weird. There's some bits in there that are strange, but and part of those is throughout the whole movie they repeatedly seem to play the song "Boom" by Charles Trenet, and I love that song, and I love Charles Trenet. I don't think there's a single song that I've ever heard by him that I haven't really liked, and so that makes me like the movie all the more. And I mean, I would recommend it. It's really quite a good movie. Second, let's see. I'll probably go with. Okay, it's probably kind of a cheesy one, and a lot of people would probably know both of these. But trauma movies. My favorite trauma movie is Class of Nuke 'Em High, and I love the Monster Hero too. Toxic Avenger is a classic. But Class of Nuke 'Em High is the first trauma movie I've ever seen, and if you don't know what those are, they're really absurd horror movies, generally resulting around some sort of chemical spill or waste issue, and they're just ridiculous, and they're a lot of fun, and I highly recommend them. And I mean, it's one of those situations where I feel like I've listed a lot of movies, and I end up posting a lot of movies that are kind of bad, in terms of, no respecting critic is going to give them, 4 stars, or is going to admit to loving them. They're never going to win any Academy Awards, and that's fair. but it doesn't make them bad movies. I love a lot of, bad movies, and so, say Troma is one of those, and they know exactly what they are, so they're not really offended being called, bad movies. But, for me, I really love, Class of Nukem High. It's the first one I ever saw, and it's just such an odd movie. It's, I don't know, I'm not going to say exactly what it's centered around, but of course it's, another one of those toxic spill issues. But there's just so many aspects of the film that are just so really enjoyable. And one is, there's just, and it's not even an important part of the plot, really, but there's just, like, they kind of just walk over it, like, it's not that big a deal. But there's a whole section of the class, like, all the nerdy kids, all the really smart kids, like, the honor roll, somehow got involved in, like, one of the, like, the toxic spills, and became, like, this whole punk gang. And they all, like, look, like, kind of mutant-ish now, and they're really badass. And, like, they terrorize a couple of the people in the movie throughout the whole thing. But it's just, like, they totally just, go over the fact that they were, once the nerdy, popular kids, and, now they're mutants. Badass mutants. And, like, there's a scene where the leader of the gang goes up to the German teacher, and she's just like, oh, you're late for class. And he says something to her in German, and I don't speak German, and they don't tell you what it is. But, he says something to her, and then she just, like, looks all flustered, so clearly it was, something flirty. And, sorry, hold on. We've got a dog and an Elizabethan cone that's freaking out. But, so he says something to her kind of flirty, and then the next scene, she's joining in their gang, and then they, get together. Like, that's ridiculous. And I love it. It's so much fun. I mean, I will stand forever for, bad, really good, bad movies. I mean, what would you rather watch with your friends on a Saturday night, drinking some beers? Like, do you want to watch The Iron Lady, or do you want to watch Troma movies? And I really think you should probably watch some Troma movies, because that's a lot more fun. Third, I'm gonna go for Colma the Musical, which, yes, it is very much a musical, which is kind of awesome. I saw it a couple years back on IFC. It was actually the first movie I ever watched on IFC when I got it, and that's by far, it was my favorite channel. I feel like it's kind of, not as good as it was, like, 2 years ago, but it's still definitely a worthy channel, and, it's a musical, and it's very much an indie movie, which there's nothing wrong with that. I absolutely love indie movies, but my only, I think the only grievance that anybody could have with the movie is, it's not the best looking all the time. But I mean, not everything can look like a Terrence Malick movie, especially with the budget that indie movies have. And really, it makes up for it in, dialogue, and the cast, and the songs. Because, I mean, the music is really fantastic. And it's not really like a musical, like backdoor or backstage musical or whatever it's called. They just burst out into song occasionally, throughout their daily lives, and it's just kind of relating to what's going on in the story. And I mean, I've been wanting the soundtrack for ages, but it's been sold out for like years. But by far my favorite song in the whole movie is called Crash the Party, and it's kind of exactly how I feel every party that I go to. And I know for sure that is still on YouTube, so go check out that video. They have the whole song. And, I mean, check it out. If you like it, go watch the movie. It was available on Netflix Instant. I was, I guess, kind of lazy and forgetful and didn't check before this started. And, I don't know, I'm not going to go do it right this second. But, if it's on there, I highly recommend it. It's really charming. It's, and it's not exactly your usual musical. So if a musical's not your thing, and even if it is, I think it's for both musical lovers and, people who are not big fans of musicals. It's a dark comedy a lot of the times. It's also funny. It's really witty. It's acerbic. It's just, the I believe the man who made it was H.P. Mendoza, and he's made a second film. I haven't watched it yet, but it's really clever. It's very much a worthy movie, and I think it's definitely underrated because I tried to tell my friends about it, to get us to watch it. I'm like, it's on Netflix Instant, let's watch it. Nobody would watch it, but trust me, I really believe that, it's definitely worth checking out. I know I had one or two others I wanted to mention. I'll think about them for a second. Ah. Sorry, my dog's crying for attention because I'm not paying attention to her. There's a few other just shortlisted, underrated movies, I would say. The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys is worth checking out. It's not perfect, but it's a good movie. I don't know, there's tons of others. I had one or two others that were perfect that I really wanted to name, and now I'm totally losing track. Like I said, bear with me in this already ridiculously long video that I'm sure one, maybe two people will check out. Thank you for checking it out if you're one of those people. Let's see. Because I wrote down, too, that I wanted to mention. And those are, of course, the two that I forget, and now I can't find them. Aha. Alright, this is worth the wait. And like I said, forgive me if I look a mess during this. I was making a bunch of pancakes and doing a bunch of other stuff that I had to get done today. And so I look pretty shabby. Okay. The Man Who Collected Food, which I would be shocked if you knew about this movie. And you should, because, once again, it's another indie movie. And though it's really good. It's not the best, but it's a really charming horror movie. I saw it last year at the Best of the Erie Horror Fest. And the story is just worth checking it out alone, because The Man Who Collected Food is just exactly that. He's a man who collects food. He goes to the grocery store and he finds a specific can of green beans, and he's just thrilled because that's just what he needed for his collection. And because he has to preserve his collection, he collects food, what else can he eat? So he eats people. Simple as that. It's a fun movie. It's enjoyable. I recommend checking it out. It's not the best writing on the planet, and there's some definite quirky bits here and there, but it's worth checking out. Alright, and then lastly, I have two little things to say. Last obscure movie, which I think is moderately obscure, Duck Season. It's a very good movie. I highly enjoy it. It's, I believe it's a Mexican film. It's a simple movie. It's quiet. It's about, these two kids, they're best friends, and they're hanging out at the one kid's house or apartment or whatever for the day, and they're home alone. And just kind of, I guess, shenanigans ensue, but shenanigans kind of entails that, crazy things are happening, and it's not really crazy, it's just interesting. And it's really a quiet, below the radar kind of movie. And I watched it one day, and, I think I watched it again right after it. I end up doing that a lot with movies. Watch it again right after, especially if I watched it on television. But, it really is. It's a really cute, charming movie, and it's really smart, and I would highly recommend checking it out. It's, because it's Mexican, and I know that there's subtitles. But, don't let that scare you. Though I think any of you who ask me movie questions are not scared of checking out foreign films, which is good, because I don't understand why, it's not reading a novel. It's so worth checking out foreign films, even though you have to, get through the subtitles. And then lastly, the last thing that somebody asked me to answer, do I want a career in film? Well, bless you for thinking that I could, pursue one. I never really thought about having an actual career in film. That's not what I was going to school for. I was going to school for photography, maybe teaching, because I'm pretty awesome with kids. I'm gloating now. But over the last about year and a half, I discovered more and more that I know a decent amount more about movies than a lot of the other people I know. And I know I watch a lot of movies, but I didn't think that, I knew anything that anybody else didn't. I thought it was common knowledge. And so I think I might, maybe someday in the future, pursue something within movies. Besides the movie theater job I'm going after, I don't have any huge plans other than that. I definitely would enjoy something in movies, and I think pretty much anything would make me happy within it. I prefer not to be somebody's personal assistant or anything like that. That does not scream movies to me. But pretty much anything, ranging from making movies, writing about movies, working in a studio, being a film professor, film studies professor. Oh God, I would love to teach classes about films. I had about 2-3 classes about films. One was just general film, and one was my freshman English 101 class, centered all around Scorsese films. It was a blast. I was required to watch Taxi Driver for class. I was required to watch Goodfellas for class and write papers on them. Papers that when I wrote quotes that said, like, the C word and other, pretty big swear words, they would get circled at my paper and say, great quote. Like, that was a blast. That was a really fun class for me. Because, I do enjoy writing about movies, though I don't really write too much on my blog because, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people don't want to read those long-winded movie reviews from people that they've never heard of. Because, why do you care what I think? Especially, I don't know. And I also, my English 102 class, I wrote about films. I had a really great idea for my term paper, and it was going to be about films, an element about films, but I really love the subject so much that I ended up coming up with so much information. I could write a novel or several novels, so I didn't really want to have to condense it into 10 pages, so I ended up goofing off the whole semester, and then the day of, I wrote 10 pages on cult films off the top of my head, made up the books that I got all my information from, because I didn't really need the books. I just checked Google to make sure I had the correct dates and spellings. Got an A. So, woohoo, and I'm decent at that type of writing on film. So that's awesome. Though, long story short, I'd be happy with any job in film. Film professor, Robert Osborne's job. I would die for stuff like that. That would be really wonderful. But as of now, I'm not really seeking any of that out. I'm not expecting to go into film or anything like that. I don't know. But it really would be nice. And, thanks for thinking that I might do that. I don't know. That's kind of about it for ideas and questions that people left me. Thank you, people who, had questions and ideas. I hope I answered any or all of your questions fairly well, And like I said, if you had any other questions or questions arose from what I talked about, or if you said, hey, I asked you that and you really didn't answer it, let me know. I will, go back and try and answer any and all questions for you. Because it was really kind of people to, kind of care a little bit and, give me some good ideas for this. Hopefully I didn't come off too gabby and, I don't know, I made some sense here and there. And hopefully my voice didn't sound too bad. It sounds really weird to me right now. I think I'm probably making it sound stranger than it is. Trust me, I look and sound better in real life. At least I hope so. I don't know. But, I don't know. That's kind of all the questions, I believe. I'll double check before I get off of this. Yeah, okay. Well, that's all for now. I hope that people enjoy this. It's really incredibly long, this video, and it's probably going to take ages to upload. So thank you, bear with me. I hope maybe you at least skip around and check out certain sections and, don't find me too blatantly annoying. Okay, thank you. Bye.